Welcome back to the Clemson Insider videocast as we continue to interview former Clemson athletic director Terry Don Phillips. And Coach, in this one, I want to talk about some other coaches that you've worked with. You were involved in the hiring of Oliver Purnell. You were involved, obviously, in the hiring of Brad Brownell after that, and then also Coach Leggett. You were here for the majority of his tenure at Clemson. So I wanted to talk to you about those three guys. We'll start off with Coach Purnell, who you hired to come in and change the direction of the basketball program at that time. He was your first major hire. Talk to me about Coach Purnell and what he did for the Clemson basketball program.
Oliver brought a really exciting play here. I mean, they were up and down the court, and I really liked Oliver, respected him, and he got our fans and our supporters really into basketball. And Oliver did a great job for us. The only thing that I was disappointed with was the way he left us. Mm-hmm. Of course, we all know coaches are going to change schools and everything. And when Oliver went to DePaul during the night or whenever it was, but
it was like the night after the national championship game, I believe, that year. Yeah.
Well, anyhow, I would have done what I needed to have done to keep Oliver here. Mm-hmm. But Oliver didn't give me that opportunity. He left without speaking to me. I was disappointed to it and about that, and still to this day I'm disappointed about that, because Oliver did a very good job for us, and he got the basketball interest back, and I know that he was disappointed that even when we got in the tournament, we lost in the first round. We didn't advance the way. But I was very disappointed in what happened, because that's the first time. Well, that's the only coach that's ever done that to me.
Yeah.
And I felt like we had a very good relationship. But put that aside, Oliver was a very good coach, did a very good job for us, and just sorry that it ended the way it did.
Well, that kind of led to the guy you brought in next, is Brad Brownell. And so what was your thoughts when you had to go look for a coach all of a sudden, and what made Brad appealing to you and why you brought him into Clemson?
He was recommended to me, and we really weren't going down that path regarding Brad. Mm-hmm. He was on our list because was recommended, and we interviewed several head coaches, and then we interviewed Brad, and Brad did an excellent job in the interview. And you know how he is. I mean, he's easy to talk to.
Absolutely.
And Billy D was on the search with me, and Billy D has done such a great job for this university over a long period of time, and I wanted Billy D involved in it so that I'd get his perspective as well, and when we interviewed Brad, both Billy D and I came away with the same feelings that here's a guy that can relate very well to Clemson people. He's got a good background. The person that was strong in their recommendation was Roy Williams.
Wow.
And they had a little confrontation at one time. Mm-hmm. When Wilmington, UNC Wilmington was playing the Tar Heels, and so Brad had done a good job, and so I was talking with Billy D. I said, I think I just need to call Coach Wims, and said, okay, just see what he's got to say, because they had that little. Well, I don't know, spat, yeah. So I called Roy. I said, Coach Wim, we're looking for a basketball coach, and there's the person that I'm looking at is Brad Purnell that's coaching down at Wilmington. And Roy said, well, we really don't get along. And he said, but I'm going to tell you this, he can coach. Anyhow, we talked about a lot of things, but Coach Williams he said he's a coach. He's a player's coach. And so Coach Williams was a significant part, and Billy D and I saying, well, that's who we're going to go with. And we were talking with some other sitting coaches that were successful coaches in major conferences, and but we just like his demeanor, how he reacts with people, and he had done a very good job at Wilmington, and was respected. So that's how we got there.
What are your thoughts on Brad and the basketball program? Again, as an outsider now looking in.
Well, they continue to represent our university in a very good fashion. They're never going to embarrass you, and we're right at the cusp. We're just and I believe with Dan and his staff have done a great job with that facility, and I think we're going to. I'm very optimistic that we're going to continue to grow and have the kind of program that we want, and we're just about there. And but it's a recruiting issue, but again, Dan and his staff has given our basketball program the kind of facility you need to have to be as good as you can possibly be.
Well, a lot of people, we'll switch over to Coach Leggett. A lot of people, I would say the media fans had this perception of Coach Leggett as a guy that's kind of like stay off my lawn kind of guy. And because he's so clean cut with the way he ran his baseball program, and short hair, no earrings, and nothing like that when you were playing for Coach Leggett, and it was a style that worked for a very long time here at Clemson. There's no doubt about it. But I think the perception was that Jack was always uptight and wasn't a loose guy, if you will. But for people who knew him, such as us, I found that when I first went to work for you guys that Jack was the most popular person in the athletic department. I mean, everybody from the mailroom clerks to the secretaries to the students all loved Coach Leggett, and he spoke to them every day. And so what was your thoughts on Coach Leggett as the person, not the coach?
Really liked Jack. That's all really, that's all I can say. I really liked him, and you're right. I mean, people in the department liked Jack and respected Jack. And Jack's a good coach. He doesn't have to back up to anybody on what he achieved as our head baseball coach. He's good people, and now he can get intense. I mean, be pretty intense at times. Mm-hmm. But I have tremendous respect for Coach Leggett.
Do you think it was unfair that people didn't really know him, and he kind of got that perception's reality, if you will, kind of thing, where people didn't realize he was that kind of a guy?
Well, I think it's just it is what it is. Jack was a really good person. He was good to work with. And that doesn't mean he wasn't stubborn.
Yeah.
I mean, cause
No, Coach Seb was stubborn.
but but he's a good man and good coach, and oh yeah, every now and then he'd get a bee in his bonnet. Have to deal with it, but just tremendous respect for Jack. He was an excellent coach and did an excellent job for our university.
Now I know when Jack was a coach, a lot of rules changes, such as the 11.7 scholarships, and then a couple other, as toward the end of his tenure, a couple of rules changed on how they could recruit kids and what they could use the money for. How tough was that to run a baseball program, and how good was Jack at budgeting the baseball program and using those scholarships and bleeding it as every much as he could?
Well, he did a good job. Any competitive coach, they're going to want a little bit more, and they're going to push it as far as they can to try to get what they feel like they need into their program. And keep in mind, I don't know if you know Gary Ward that was at Oklahoma State. And try dealing with him.
So Jack was kind of easy.
Well, I would say this: Gary got me greased up pretty good. Get ready for Jack. But that's just the competitive nature of Jack, but he's a good man. Cared for his kids, cared for the program, had great pride, and he represented this university in excellent fashion. And yeah, we all got our idiosyncrasies, but I have a lot of respect for Jack Leggett.
I guess with the Olympic sports, a lot of people don't think about with them is that it's not like football where there's 85 scholarships available, or even men's and women's basketball that have 13 and 12. And so they got a scholarship for every player on their team. And in the Olympic sports, they have to share scholarships. So like baseball, for instance, we mentioned 11.7. That's 11.7 total scholarships for 35 or 27 guys on a roster. How difficult is that to manage? And how challenging is that, especially in a place like Clemson?
Well, it's challenging. But at the same time, we're not the Lone Ranger. That's
right.
That's baseball. And, you got to, make, some personnel decisions on who you're going to grant more than somebody else. And again, players, they talk, and so, well, you mean you're getting this amount of scholarship and I'm just getting this amount, so it's not, we're in that kind of situation. It's not the easiest thing to deal with. But at the same time, that's what your competitors are dealing with as well.
Well, at the end of your tenure, that's when a lot of you started seeing Virginia and Vanderbilt, those guys start using endowments to help from the academic side to help pay for scholarship money for baseball as far as what their kids could get academically. And that's given them an edge, that's say a school like Clemson, because Clemson's not known for big endowments. You don't have doctors and lawyers like those schools. So that is kind of, at the end, what was that for you? We're going to obviously have Coach Leggett on here talk about it as well, but what was that for you as the administrator trying to make sure you're doing everything you can to give him what he needs? Well,
I'm satisfied to know Kyle Young has supervision, and I guarantee you that they're doing everything they can to get our program what they need within the rules.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it coming here and talking. I know it's been a long talk and we've enjoyed it. I hope the fans have as well. That's it for us here at the Clemson Inside. We're Coach Terry Don Phillips. We'll have more series like this in the days and weeks to come, so stay tuned to TCI for more.